What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, talk on what's really holding Lucid back from breaking out, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 1.67%. Market's just been open about 45 minutes. 466 is the high and 5.2 million shares have been traded. 27.4 is the average. So today is going to be a little bit low for the overall volume. But there hasn't been any news from Lucid itself, no SDC filings, nothing like that. So it is just piggybacking off of the broader market. There was a lot of high expectations. Even I did bring up in yesterday's video the fact that if non-farm payroll was going to be negative, similar to what happened on Wednesday, it might actually be inverse and help a lot of growth stocks, because people would be assuming that the Feds would be cutting the rates sooner rather than later. And obviously that's very good for stocks that are heavily reliant on debt, such as Lucid. But the non-farm payroll did come in a lot higher than anticipated, which is in general fairly good. So this is why you do see the broader market rallying. And in Lucid's case, the only thing that's really holding it back is the technical. So I'm going to break that down in a second. The only thing that really came out of kind of interest that I wanted to bring up, Let's Go Lucid did post this. So once again, asking AI if essentially there's any validity between that whole Apple and Lucid partnership, which I know is kind of far done right now, but interesting to see some of the evidence that they did hint. So saying the Apple CarPlay integration in March 2023, Lucid announced the integration of Apple CarPlay into its vehicles, marking a potential first step towards collaboration. Which not only that though, I believe Lucid was among the first to get the latest update. So that might again mean something. And then Lucid CEO opened stance about having obviously the Apple on the table and just a lot of other things. So kind of interesting to see AI's viewpoint on a potential partnership among the two. In my opinion, I don't really see it happening. If Lucid probably would have ramped up on a significant basis for their actual production, then maybe that might be a topic of conversation. But as of right now, I don't think Lucid is doing what Apple would ideally want. But what do I know? I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. So moving on to some data though, starting off with options, $101,000 in calls being purchased versus 29,000 in puts. So a little bit more oriented towards the upside is anticipated. And I think that's more so just piggybacking off of the broader market. But looking at some of the calls, it looks like people are anticipating for it to be once again back into the $5 plus by the end of next week. Looking at the puts, it is anticipated to be sub $4. So both kind of make sense when it comes down to the technicals. And when it comes to shorts, I'll give you a quick overview of what they are doing so far within the first, like I said, about 45 minutes. They are returning about 259,000 shares. 28.46% of the free float is being shorted, which works out to be 252.14 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 18.1, and through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate that there's around 100,000 shares available to be shorted. So kind of interesting stuff when it comes to that. There hasn't really been any updates coming from any new institutions buying. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings, nothing like that. So it has just been, like I said, piggybacking off of the broader market. Before I get into the technicals, there's one thing I just wanted to play. So this quick video is only going to be about a minute, but ultimately in here they kind of talk on some of the recent data that did come out and what that kind of means to the broader market.
Rick, it's time. The numbers should be there any second.
Yes, they should be, and they're populating now. Here's their November read on the big jobs report. 199,000, a bit better than expectations. But as Steve referenced, the smart people, they were a little bit too high, it seems. 150,000 would be private payrolls, fairly close in line with expectations. A drop in the unemployment rate from 3.9 to 3.7. 3.7. The last time we were at 3.7 exactly was May, but in July we were at 3.5. In August we were at 3.8. So you can see that this is coming down a little bit, and that is a good thing. The high water mark has been 3.9. Our last look, which was the highest since January of 2022, and it was at 4%. Average hourly earnings, I don't see them populating yet on a month over month or year over year, and I do apologize in terms of Average work week, it remained a little higher than it has been. 34.4. It was reverting. We had 34.3 last week. We had a lot of 34.4s. The high watermark that we've had really recently was 34.7, and that was basically about beginning of last year. We see interest rates have ratcheted up. And as I said, I do apologize. I can't pick off the earnings month over month or year over year. We do see that pre-opening equities have moved lower.
Okay, so ultimately, a lot of good data that's been coming out, which is obviously thus good for the broader market. Bad for a lot of those growth stocks that are heavily reliant on debt that was kind of hedging and hoping for the Feds to cut rates sooner rather than later. So again, it might change week by week, but definitely that is what gave the broader market a nice rally. I guess it was more so Wednesday this week and then Thursday, Friday of the fall of the past week. So that's kind of what caused a lot of rallies. Just hope that Feds would be cutting rates sooner. Just hope that Feds would be cutting rates again sooner rather than later. But going over some of the data with it at $4.57, it is between this R1 and this R2. So $4.65, that has been that damn stubborn resistance that Lucid has been bouncing off of, has failed to really get above that and stay there. So kind of bounced off of that so far this morning, 466. Most likely it will be testing it once again. It seems like the broader market has a lot of optimism. But in the end, though, a lot of people, when it comes to Lucid, they want to know about the next big catalyst. And so far, Lucid is trying very, very hard with some good PR, such as what recently came out about them adding the flexibility to customers, but still no real substantial reason to go out and buy Lucid. So I think they do need to start opening up reservations for the Gravity, which in my opinion should come within Q1, probably oriented towards their actual earnings, because they do like to kind of give a good piece of news at least before their earnings. That way they can kind of use it as a talking point. So I feel like the opening of the Gravity is going to be the next big thing for Lucid, unless they have something out of left field. In my opinion, they did previously kind of quash it, but ESS, I feel like that is a huge thing that Lucid is missing out on. And I think the only reason why they're not really pursuing it is because of the lack of infrastructure out in Saudi Arabia. But once again, what do I know? Let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. One final thing, number of retail investors have been getting in based on the momentum indicator. Stochastic is very bullish starting today, so black line above the red, and it is overall fairly neutral. So Lucid does have everything on the table for it to potentially go up. So shorts are returning, very optimistic for the options, and the technicals are wanting to break through that damn resistance point. It just needs a little bit more of an extra push from the broader market. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that, and give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying, selling, holding? What have you been doing with Lucid? One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Actually even says Lucid on the kind of promo thing right there alongside SoFi. So take advantage of this. Sign up for an account with Moo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals in the market. Link in the description below and also comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.